Hey, Miss Smart here with today's assignment. This is on page 96, and you're just doing numbers 1 through 5. All right, so first, here's a graph of f given by f of theta equals a tangent of theta. Are pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2 in the domain of f? Explain how you know. So pi over 2 is one place where cosine is equal to 0. And since tangent is equal to sine divided by cosine, whenever the cosine is equal to 0, then that um, value is not in the domain because dividing by 0 is undefined. And so at pi over 2, cosine is 0. At 3 pi over 2, cosine is equal to 0. And actually, those are where there are asymptotes on this function. So for a, they are not in the domain because cosine is undefined at pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2 because oh wait, no, tangent is undefined, not cosine. It's because the cosine is equal to 0. Ah, so tangent is undefined at pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2 because that is where cosine is equal to 0. All right, and we can't divide by 0. Dividing by 0 is undefined. Okay, B, what are the theta intercepts? Same thing as x-intercepts of the graph. Explain how you know. So anytime that sine is equal to 0, the graph, the function is crossing that axis, because when sine is equal to 0 and then you divide by cosine, you get an answer of 0. So they are in this picture, in the part of the graph that we can see, 0, what is that, pi and 2 pi. And if you think about the unit circle, those are the places where sine is equal to 0. And so we're going to say because sine equals 0, so, oops, done. So tangent equals 0 as well at those three places. Okay, number 2, the function f is given by f of theta equals tangent theta. Which statements are true? Select all that apply. Okay, so yes, this is a periodic function. We saw that when we graphed them in class today. B, the domain is all real numbers. That's not true because there are places where this is undefined, and so the domain is not all real numbers. But the range is all real numbers. It will extend increasing and decreasing in both directions. So C is correct. D, the period is 2 pi. Nope, the period is just pi. So that's E. Okay, number 3, the unit circle. If the tangent of A is greater than 1, where could A be on the unit circle? So right here, like exactly halfway, pi over 4, that's that spot where cosine and sine are the same value. And so when you divide them, you get 1. So at that point right there, tangent equals 1. So the tangent of pi over 4 equals 1. And also down here, that happens again. This is 5 pi over 4. Okay, so those are the two places that the tangent is equal to 1. And then if you think about how tangent, again, is equal to sine divided by cosine, which ends up being the rise over the run, so like the slope of the line. So anything, if we connect this right here, this is where the line gets steeper. So those are going to be more than 1 up till right here at pi over 2. And then same thing right here. This line here has a slope of exactly 1. And then this is where this would be steeper, so more than 1. And that's at 3 pi over 2. Okay, so any place in this region here or this region here is where the tangent is going to be more than 1. So that would be between pi over 4 and pi over 2 up here, or 5 pi over 4 and 3 pi over 2, that region down there. Okay, number 4. Here's a point on the unit circle. Explain why the line going through 0, 0 and P has a slope of 1/2. So if this is the unit circle, then right out here is 1, 0, right? Up here is 0, 1. So noticing that this point actually goes, or this line, sorry, actually also goes through that point. So this is a rise of 1/2 and a run of 1. And so the slope is going to be rise over run, 1/2 over 1, which is equal to 1/2. So then what is the tangent of the angle represented by P? Well, the tangent is also going to be 1/2, and that is because the tangent is equal to rise over run of the line that goes through 0, 0 and connects to P. Okay, so the tangent of the angle represented by P is equal to 1/2 as well, and it's the rise over the run of the line through 0, 0 to P, which is 1/2. All right, next. For which angles between 0 and 2 pi is the cosine of theta less than 0? So whenever you see something less than 0, that's just asking you, when is the cosine of theta negative? That's all that means, okay? So when we look at our unit circle, we look at our unit circle here. I know that cosine is negative in quadrant 3. So all of those are negative cosine values. And in, quadrant 2 and in quadrant 3. Those are all negative cosine values. So I could say, oh, between in quadrant 2 and quadrant 3. But the question's asking the angle measurements between 0 and 2 pi. So pi over 2 is where it would start. And then the angles between pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. Okay, so all of those angles have negative cosine values. So for which angle theta between 0 and 2 pi is the cosine of theta less than 0? I would say between pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. And I would just say something about how in quadrants 2 and 3, x values are negative, so cosine of theta would be less than 0, because that's what it means to be less than 0, to be negative. All right, that's the end of your assignment. I hope you found this helpful. Oh, shoot.